even though I had my run-ins um, with people that are in the church per se, like the building, um, I listen to, God has led me to people, whether it be preachers, teachers, even I don't care if I do internet, you get what I'm saying, to listen to them or whatever, because I'm not above or, reapproach or correction. I don't mind being corrected. Corrected is differently than someone condemning you, and you have to know the difference. I do, because I met condemnation a lot throughout my life. But certainly, no matter who you are and what walk of life, and a lot of people don't understand, especially if you are not a church, there are people you still can listen to, whoever God is leading you towards. Because honestly, the people that God has led me towards, honestly, I thank God for that, because I really did. A lot of stuff that they teach, I really did need. You know what I'm saying? I needed it, and I listened to it. And this is something that you have to do, because we all, we're not perfect. We do make mistakes. And this is something that we all need to realize. Not one of us, I don't care who you are bound to make a mistake somewhere. And all it is that you admit your mistakes, get up and just keep on going. Don't sit here and say, oh, you're not oh, don't do that. Just say, you know what, I'm not perfect. I know I'm not. But you know what, I'm going to keep on going and going and going and going. And no matter what, I'm not going to stop. That's what you do. Okay? And the thing is why I have it like that, and there's plenty more, but I'm not going to go into those different things of my experience dealing with people in church, okay? The thing is, instead of actually condemning people about coming to the building and all this kind of stuff, get down to the deep core of why this is happening. All these stories are not just happening just not to be happening. You need to understand this. The real issue is, and everyone needs to address, is why this is happening, why does this keep happening, and what we're going to do about it in order to fix it to where people will feel safe to come to the building per se and actually get what they need, to get the message, to get the sermon and all that kind of stuff, and realize that no prophet, no preacher, no teacher is a beyond approach. You know what I'm saying? They are not beyond that. That if they walk in error, God will correct them one way or another. We all are prone to that, okay? And God will send people that you least expect to do it. It don't have to be a name or somebody with a name. God will send people that don't even have a name, that nobody knows. Because why? They don't know. They actually go into place and nobody knows them. But a person literally that has a name, they will see them coming. So they will know. It's no different than I was talking about the other day. I gave basically the sermon about Elijah when he anointed the prophet's son to go and anoint Jehu. Elijah could have went, but they would have known exactly who he was. They would have saw him coming a mile away. So that's why God had him to do that, because one, they didn't know him. They did not know who this boy was. So that's why he was able to come up upon them. And they actually was not on their post. They were not paying attention. So he was able to come in and do exactly what he needed to do and get up and get out of there. And that's exactly what happened. And a lot of times God will and does do that to people, okay? So that they can go in, do what they're supposed to do, and get out. That's it, But again, nobody, not one of us, is beyond to be corrected. Again, I'm not talking about condemnation, because there's a lot of people walking around condemning people. That is not the same thing. And your truths and your beliefs is not the same thing about God's and His word. You twisting scripture is not the same thing to fit your narrative of whatever it is. It's not the same thing. And I'm gonna tell you this. This is what I have found out, because when I first came back to the Lord, I found myself becoming very, very religious. That's why I know God snatched me up in a hurry, because I was. And I even noticed it, because I'm like, God, what is wrong with me? And I couldn't, because I was like, I felt like a hypocrite. Okay, I really did, because it's like, it's not the fact that I wasn't doing, it's the fact of things that I had already been through. I was in a way kind of like condemning people who was going through it. But it's kind of like, if you do it this way, it will happen. And God had to snatch me up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens. And God will literally strip, and during that time, I got stripped of everything, that was on me, that I was carrying, old ways as well, and all this kind of stuff, the mind, the systems, and all this kind of stuff. And the only way I can really, and I'm going to explain the way that when I say stripping, it's like, imagine somebody got clothes on, and somebody just coming, just stripping, and they turn and twisting everywhere, and it's like, and then they're standing there basically naked, exposed. You know what I'm saying? Because they got stripped of everything. But this is a spiritual stripping. You know what I'm saying? And all this kind of stuff. So now, when you come back, you have to be layered and dressed the way how God, and this is not a physical dress. Okay, I'm gonna make that plain. But just the way how God wants you to and intends you to, and actually you have to be yourself. And that's one thing that God was letting me know, that I had to be myself. I didn't have to, because I was with him, had to put on this robotic type stance. For me to take away my personality, that's not what he does, you know. And that God was letting me know that it was okay to be me and show the different sides of me, because I have many different sides, to show all that, you know, or whatever. And I was letting the Lord know, like, I don't know how to, like, talk in front of a camera. I can't do it. I can't be, because I felt like it was performative. But the more and more God was letting me know to do it, it just became natural. And so I was able to become my natural, authentic self that was behind the scenes on camera. And that is the difference. And I notice the difference now as well, too, because yes, when you do that, you do, it hits the people that it's supposed to hit. And I understand why. Now, with that being said, this is not about anything like that. It's about getting the messages to the people it needs to get to. That's all it's about, because God needs these people through you to show. And like I said, that's why I am not perfect. I strive each and every day. It is literally hard. It is hard. Okay. And I want you to know this, that everybody, life is not the same. Everybody don't go through the same struggles, despite what people tell you. But I'm going to tell you this, you have to keep going. It is hard. It is really, really hard. And it is hard to even find a community. It is hard to find people, because even in doing this, I have found when I be around people, it is not long before people turn on me. Even in the church, like, it is not long whatsoever. So, you know, because when you're a person that see truth, and you're about a bunch of people, and then they realize that they are like Pharisees, you know, you become the target, because you are being you. And it's like, you're not supposed to act like that. You're not supposed to dress that. You ain't supposed to look like that. You're not supposed to do those things. And you're not supposed to speak that way. You're not supposed to walk that way. You're not supposed to act that way. But says who? Because majority of the if y'all ever read truly about the prophets and looked at their characteristics, all of y'all would say that these people were crazy to this day. You would not listen to not one of them. And the only reason why you say that you would is because you know who they are now. At that time, they were not accepted by people at all. Yes, by a few. But be following and whatever, because absolutely not. People thought they were nuts and out of their mind. So it's no different than today. And even back then, you would get people following them because why? They understood. But also you get people following them because why? And paying attention to them because why? They want to destroy them. It's no different than today. It's the same thing. People watch for different reasons. But I'm like, just let God sort it out. But if you are a person that's doing what God has called you to do, and like, again, I'm going to tell you this, there's no way to be perfect. Just don't be performative. Just be yourself and tell the truth about no matter what it is. Just be honest and be truthful, and don't have people thinking that you are this perfect person and that you pray and you do all this and you really don't behind the scenes. Don't do that. Be honest and say, you know what, I have a hard time. I have a hard time in this area. I have a hard time in this. Not making excuses. You're just being honest. And say, you know what, I'm not none of these, but anytime God has me doing something, you know what I'm saying, I go and do it. You know, this and that. I may not want to do it, you know, but I do go and do it. I may speak about some things that God is putting on me to speak about or tells me to speak about or whatever, and I do it. You just gotta, you know what I'm saying, and go about your, because people are not gonna accept you. That's why I say that people are, if you're looking for people to accept you, honey, you got to. And that's why I say, if you were somebody who's been like me through all your life, you have not been accepted, you have been rejected no matter where you go. And yes, the world thinks differently about that, but guess what? Who cares? But I'm gonna tell you this, is that you have to keep on going. When you are used to people rejecting you and not accepting you, it makes it so much easier when you start walking with God, because you already know that they're not. Keep on going.